Title: The Bridge Beneath the Fog. The fog always came before dawn, thick, silent, endless. It swallowed the river, the hills, and even the old steel bridge that stretched between them. To most, it was just another morning. But to Thomas Reed, it was his cathedral. Thomas had been painting bridges for almost 30 years. Not designing them, not building them, painting them. Layer after layer, stroke after stroke, protecting the bones of steel from time and rust. It wasn't glamorous, but it was honest work, and that mattered to him. He liked to arrive early, before the crew, when the air was still and the world was half asleep. Standing high above the water, he'd breathe in the scent of iron and river mist. "You gotta respect the bridge," he always said. "She's what keeps both sides together." But lately, Thomas had started to feel the weight of years pressing on him. His knees ached, his hands shook, and sometimes he caught himself staring into the fog, wondering how long he could keep climbing ladders and swinging brushes. He didn't talk about it, men like him never did. Then, one morning, something changed. As he unpacked his tools, he noticed a young woman standing at the base of the bridge, sketchbook in hand. She was drawing, fast, deliberate, focused. Her hair was tucked under a beanie, and her jeans were covered in paint stains. She looked up and waved. "You must be the bridge painter," she said with a grin. He nodded. "That's me. Been at it longer than you've been breathing, I bet." She laughed. "I'm studying architecture. My professor told me this bridge was built in 1923. It's beautiful." Thomas looked at her sketch. The lines were rough but full of life. "You see it different than most," he said. "Most people just drive over it." She shrugged. "I think everything has a soul. Even steel." That day, as he worked, she stayed, sketching, asking questions, listening to his stories. It was strange, talking to someone who actually cared. When she left, she thanked him and said, "You're part of the bridge's history, you know." He hadn't thought of it that way before. The next morning, she was there again. And the next. And the next. They fell into a quiet rhythm. He painted, she drew. Sometimes they spoke, sometimes they didn't. But in that silence, something began to change. Thomas started to notice the details he'd stopped seeing long ago, the way sunlight hit the metal, the sound of water underfoot, the echo of his own heartbeat against the hum of the bridge. One afternoon, as the fog lifted, she said, "You ever think about what happens when the bridge is finished?" He smiled faintly. "You start another one." She nodded. "Maybe. But maybe it's not about finishing. Maybe it's about what you leave behind." Her words stayed with him. Weeks passed. The bridge began to gleam again, bright red against the silver morning mist. The crew joked that Thomas painted like a man half his age. And in a way, he felt like one. The fatigue was still there, but it was softer now, carried by purpose. When the project finally ended, the young woman handed him her last sketch. It showed the bridge in the fog, half hidden, half revealed. And on one of the beams, a small figure stood, paintbrush in hand. "That's you," she said. "You're the heartbeat of it." Thomas swallowed hard. "That's the best thing anyone's ever said to me." He framed the drawing in his kitchen, beside an old photograph of his wife, gone too soon. And every morning after that, before heading out, he looked at it and whispered, "Still painting, love. Still keeping things together." Months later, he got a letter from the university. It was from the girl, now graduated. She'd sent him a photograph of a new bridge she was designing. "For Thomas Reed," the note read, "who taught me that some bridges aren't built with steel, they're built with kindness." Thomas smiled, folded the letter carefully, and put it in his pocket. Then he picked up his brush, stepped into the fog, and began again. Because some bridges you build with your hands, and others, with your heart.